know about you, but she convinced me. If she was looking after my money, I'd feel pretty good about that.
Well, thank you.
So tell us now, besides the oil tax accomplishment, give us some more accomplishments in the 15 months you've been here. This is your chance to brag a little bit, Laura.
Well, thank you. Okay, we appreciate that. The very first audit we conducted was the audit of our own office. I really felt like before we went into other departments to start making recommendations for improvement that we started at home in our office, really trying to promote excellence in government throughout the entire city. So we started with our own office, and we have accomplished this. There's always that question of who audits the auditors?
Right.
And the industry has covered that. The generally accepted government auditing standards require every audit organization to undergo an audit
by an outside auditor.
That's right, every 3 years. And it's referred to as a peer review or an audit of your office. And so the audit of our office, basically showed that in the past this hadn't been done. So we are now preparing ourselves for the first independent peer review or audit of our office to ensure that we are in compliance with government auditing standards. So I'm pleased with the results of this audit. We are on track to pass this peer review. We're managing our engagements. I think we're probably the most active, aggressive auditor's office that this city has had in a long time. So I'm very pleased with the results of that and the goals we have for the office. So that was one of our first accomplishments. The second accomplishment we just talked about with the oil production tax. And the third was we had a goal 15 months ago to audit the police department. The city's budget has been upside down for many years. And when you look at the police department, they account for about 45% of the city's budget. They have the biggest financial impact on the city's budget. So even though we have a solid police department, just a great police department, we felt there were some areas that could be improved. So basically we did audit the police department. We found basically 4 broad categories for improvement. They were civilianization, utilizing more civilians for positions where sworn officers are now being used, to redeployment, to have more flexibility in their staffing to help contain overtime, to have better use of the technology, city's technology, and then we had a whole section on fine enforcement. So it was a huge success, and in cooperation with the police department, they were very open to us, worked with us, and right now we're working with them and city management to implement these recommendations.
Fantastic. Now we're going to be back with more from Laura Dowd. We're going to talk about the fraud hotline, so stay right with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Strictly Business. I'm Randy Gordon, and I'm here with our city auditor, Laura Dowd. Laura, let's talk about the fraud hotline, which I know you're excited about. So tell the folks about this fraud hotline.
Thank you. Yes, we have revitalized our fraud hotline. The number for people to call is 888-FRAUD-07. You can also access our city auditor website to get the link to our fraud hotline. It's for the purpose for the citizens, for employees, for vendors to report any fraud that they suspect against the city. Fraud is rampant. Fraud, where there's money, there's fraud. And unfortunately, fraud is much more prevalent than most people realize. There was a 2006 study of the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners that basically said that 48.5% of all fraud against government is detected by a tip. So we want to encourage people that if they are suspicious of theft or fraud or abuse of any kind against the city, to please report it, to be alert and report this fraud. We need to know. We have zero tolerance for this, and we know it's out there. This report, the study I just mentioned, also said that each government organization is also susceptible to about 5% of their annual revenues to fraud. The city has about $1.5 billion. That means about $75 million of the city's money could be at risk to fraud. So we appreciate this opportunity to announce our revitalization of this fraud hotline. We encourage people to call. It is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week service. They can call an independent third party. They can be anonymous. All of this information will be confidential, and our office will follow up on all tips and leads that we receive. So again, I encourage people to be alert and to please call our hotline.
Now, if somebody's listening to that, give us a hypothetical situation. Make up an example that if I'm a citizen, if I see what? Give us an example.
Sure. If you're a citizen and you sign up, I mean, I'm not picking on Parks and Recs, but I'm just giving a hypothetical situation. If you're a citizen and you go to Parks and Recs and you sign up for one of our city classes, and you pay, your cash, and you see, I mean, this is very obvious. I mean, if you see them either pocket the money, or you're not getting a receipt, or you see something funny about the fact that you weren't included on the registration form, that you had paid the money but you weren't there.
Or you didn't sign something.
Right, and just something didn't seem right about that. That's just a hypothetical. You might just want to question, ask, and find out. If your neighbor is utilizing city resources, a city dump truck, a city facilities for personal use of some sort, then those are a couple examples.
And just to remind you, it's anonymous, so they're not going to ask you what your name is or what street you live on.
That's right. Right, it's all anonymous, and this independent third party will be reporting to our office, and then our office will be following up on all these calls.
We talked before the break about auditing the police department, and regardless of what, we could have the best police department in America, which I think we do, but there's always improvements. The Japanese have a word for it, kaizen, which is a never-ending improvement, always trying to be better. So what other departments are you looking at, or do you automatically at some point review all of them, or
we will
how does that work?
I think we will be looking at every department. No department is exempt, but we started with kind of the lion's share of the budget, where you look at the police department and the fact that they're 45% of the budget. Another department that we are looking at right now is Public Works, and you look at the city's public infrastructure is really one of the key responsibilities of a city government. So we are looking at Public Works because, as we all know, our public infrastructure is in real dire need of service. And so we're looking at the funding sources that service our streets and our repairs and our maintenance, and we're looking at how we can better manage our city projects, how we can better manage the money that we receive, and provide a better service to the citizens through our Public Works Department. That's an ongoing audit we have right now, and we should be done shortly. But
now, that includes the airport too.
That's right.
Even though our new city manager is kind of splitting out the responsibilities of the new Christine Anderson is going to be the department manager for the airport. But right now, that's part of Public Works.
That's right, it is.
And that's got to be a huge chunk of the budget.
Yes, it is. The Public Works, it is a huge chunk. Our focus for the particular audit we're working on right now is mostly in street repairs. That seems to be the most visible problem within our public infrastructure right now, and we're looking at ways that we can help improve our streets as efficiently and as economically as possible.